The Great Recession is a term that represents the sharp decline in economic activity during the late 2000s, which is considered the largest downturn since the Great Depression. The recession lasted from December 2007 to June 2009. This resulted in nearly 9 million Americans losing their jobs. Unemployment rates peaked in October 2009 at 10%, 1.3 million Americans losing their homes, and the government spent an estimated $621 billion to bail out big banks and failing businesses. To put that in perspective, the amount of people who lost their jobs in the US alone is enough to fill the world's biggest cruise ship over 1,000 times. And $621 billion is so much money, it would take a person making $8.30 an hour, almost 75 billion hours to even earn it.
This economic meltdown was caused by the extreme amount of subprime loans that caused 1.3 million Americans to lose their homes, and massive amounts of investors who bought the subprime loans led to the stock market crash. Banks created way too much money that was used to push up housing prices and unrestricted laws enacted by Congress.
How did the 2008 recession start?
It started because lenders started issuing loans to anybody and everybody. Without really truly qualifying them.
They paid a higher rate of return than investors could get in other places, so they looked like really safe bets. For one, home prices were going up and up, so lenders thought, worst case scenario, the borrower defaults on the mortgage and we can just sell the house for more money. These investors saw that the mortgages looked safe on paper, assuming that house pricing would keep going up, which they always did. The loans were given out, too many houses were built, and the price of housing dropped. This caused the investors to lose money, and with everyone pulling their stocks in a short amount of time, the market crashed and caused people to lose everything.
Types of loans on the market, but the most damaging loan was the no interest or the balloon loan. And what we saw was people start to pick these up in about 2003, thinking in 2008 they could make a big payment or they would have enough equity to cover the balloon and then they could refinance. And when this did not happen, then the banks started altering how they did loans and making it much easier to get a loan, and people simply were not qualified and could not make their payments.
So basically like it was an investment for the bank.
It worked out very, very well
Yes.
for the banks.
Okay.
Congressional Research Service notes, after the introductory period, loan payments reset to a higher amount to also cover the loan's principal. Negative amortizing mortgages allow borrowers to pay less than current interest due and result in a higher loan balance and higher future payments. This exemplifies that people receiving these subprime loans had no idea that eventually their payments would increase to a point that they couldn't afford. This would inevitably leave them with less money to spend and eventually losing the house which they invested in.
Real estate brokerage firms, many of those went under because there was a lull in sales as people defaulted before the government stepped in, and banks simply took them over, and banks held on to the foreclosures. They didn't put them on the market.
That pushed the banks to loan to everybody. And now that we want to go vilify the banks because of its one target, it's easy to blame them, and Congress certainly isn't going to blame themselves. Congress forced banks to give out loans to more people, and this created subprime lending. This worked in their attempts to allow more people to access homes. The unrestricted laws allowed banks to take advantage of their customers and leave them poor and without a home.
People could not make the payments and meet the deadlines as agreed when they first got the loans. People were not monetarily prepared or financially solvent enough to even take these loans, but mortgage brokers and bankers were saying, you know, we can do this, we can make it work. And so we saw, I can't tell you how many thousands of people that their credit was destroyed.
Around 31% of money produced went to residential property, which pushed up house prices faster than wages. Around 32% went to the financial sector and the same financial markets that eventually imploded during the financial crisis. Banks creating excessive amounts of money that were pushed into the housing market caused prices to go up, which meant that families that were foreclosed on couldn't afford to buy a new house and were left with limited options. Not only did they lose any money, but they put into the original house, but they don't have enough money to pay for a new one.
Hi, my name is Chad Bingmanton III, and I'm a former small business owner. I started Cystic Fibrosis Costume Emporium in 2006 because of my love for costumes, especially Squatch ones like this. When I first started my business, my credit was trash, but I was given a loan anyway. Everything was fine until my payments shot up and I was foreclosed. Now I DJ kids' parties, funerals, holiday parties, anything I'm offered really. I still wear this costume because it reminds me of the good pastimes I used to have when I played croquet with my grandpa in the backyard. Actually, do you want to check out my newest song?
Yeah.
Okay. This is my newest song right now that I'm making. It's in the process. It's not done yet, but I'll let you have a look.
Hey, that was pretty good, but isn't that Skrillex?